Thanks for joining us today. We have Peter Tallman, CEO of Klondike Gold. Klondike Gold is going to be doing a webinar with Adelaide Capital next week, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to sit down with Peter and just get a refresher on Klondike Gold and learn what's changing with the company and what they're seeing that's exciting. So thanks for joining us today, Peter.
Thank you, Deborah. It's great to be on.
Yeah, so I understand you're up in Dawson right now.
Yes, normally sunny, warm Dawson. Today, for whatever reason, it's kind of cold and chilly. It is the Arctic Circle, close enough.
So you live part of the year up there?
Most of my CEO duties can be done from here, and I find it easier as an effective manager to do the decision-making here on top of things as opposed to somewhere down south.
Maybe you could give us a little bit of a brief overview of Klondike Gold for those people that aren't familiar with the company.
The current iteration of Klondike Gold came about from Frank Justra, who looked at the company in 2014, thought it was interesting, but thought the asset was interesting. So I reviewed it for him in late 2014 and said, geez, there's a lot of economic interest there, but it's been poorly explored, and so we should take this on and see if we can find any gold here.
Okay, and so what's happened in the last 6 years? Maybe you can give us a little bit of an update and what's changing right now and what you're focused on.
The 5 years after we took it over and started exploring have been basically starting from scratch to begin, well, drilling primarily because there's not much outcrop, but to prove that there actually was gold in the ground first because there was questions about it. And then to identify zones of potentially economic grade over width mineralization. And then thirdly, to show that some of these zones had multi-million ounce potential. And that's the first 5 years leading up to the end of last year. We proved that, found lots of gold, basically redid all the geology, examined the district in detail. And so we have a really nice geological model. This year is the kind of the exciting year for me because it's the transition now from exploration into mineral resource delineation. So we've just completed our first 3 phases of drilling. Now we're waiting for assays, but that is detailed drilling on 2 different zones. Each we think has multi-million ounce potential. And so we took little subsets of each of them and did some definition drilling around just to kind of model the grade and see what the geometry looks like, see if it's an open pit type mineralization.
Okay, and my understanding is that Klondike Gold does not currently have a resource on its assets, but that you're looking to potentially put one out in the next little while. Is that correct?
The objective from the beginning was to find and have an initial resource that was 2 million ounces or greater. And so really the investment thesis was we're not looking for something small. If there's something small here, it's probably not worth bothering with. So is there something big? And if so, let's go prove it. And so the objective, as I said, we're just starting the resource delineation. We have done exploration drilling, so we know there's a lot of gold over big widths and long strike lengths. We're picking subsets to try to figure out where 2 million ounces is to get to that first mineral resource threshold.
Okay, and so 2 million ounces, that doesn't sound like an arbitrary number. Why is that your target? Why do you think 2 million ounces is meaningful?
2 million ounces is meaningful in Yukon to majors. Really, anything less than 2 million anywhere is not of interest to a major, and we are targeting specifically, we think there's more than 2 million, we think there's quite a lot in the district, but at least to get to that threshold, we will have the majors, and all the world gold majors are here in Yukon, we'll have them interested in us, and that's what we want.
Okay, great. Well, that sounds really interesting. And before we started the interview, you were telling me that you recently found some nuggets on the property. I'm sure that we're going to show that photo in the video, but maybe you can talk a little bit about that.
That is absolutely breaking news. That came out of the ground 2 days ago. And so I had them in my hand for the first time yesterday. And these are 1 to 2 ounce gold nuggets, but they're pristine. One of them is in the shape of a butterfly, and it's subcrop. And so if we were to sample it, well, we get some idiotic number because it's all gold. But the guys are out there today digging it up with a shovel, and we're working to get an excavator and start trenching it in the coming days.
Well, that's really exciting. It sounds like there's a lot of progress being made on the property, and I'm looking forward to hearing more about it next week when you're doing a full hour-long webinar with us. So thanks for taking the time to give us a little bit of a teaser on Klondike Gold. Just say it's such a fantastic name, like such history there, and you're in a great jurisdiction. So I think it's exciting times up there. There's a lot of activity this summer up in that region.
We're next door to Canada's newest mine in Victoria Gold. There's gold mines and zones all around us. So yes, we're in elephant country, I would say, and we're proving now for the first time that there's a lot of gold in the Klondike, to explain where 20 million ounces of gold came from that's been mined out of the gravels.
Arctic elephants.
Woolly mammoths, I guess, is what it is.
Perfect. That's a new term we can use. Well, it's great to see you, Peter, and I'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you very much.